This orientation content will cover what are social determinants of health, why do they matter, and how do they interact with policy, system, and environmental changes. Again, these are the 4 aims of the project. So social determinants are conditions in the environment where people are born, live, work, play, worship, and age, and they affect a wide range of health, functioning, and quality of life outcomes and risks. And as we've talked about in other sessions, where you live should not determine how long you live, and too often it does. Here are 2 short videos that describe social determinants of health, and I would like you to see both of them and then return to the slides. So in summary, social determinants of health are important to have economic stability, to have high quality education that's accessible for everyone, to have healthcare that's accessible and again of high quality. It involves our neighborhood environment and the built environment, the structures that we build in our neighborhood. And it also is important for our social and community context of how we relate. Examples of social determinants of health include having safe housing, having accessible transportation to get to the grocery store, to work, to other appointments. It's impacted by racism, discrimination, and violence. It's impacted by education, loss of job opportunities, low income. It's important to have access to good food and nutrition, places where we can be physically active out in our neighborhood. It's important to protect people from being polluted to exposure to polluted air or water. And it's also important that we provide information in a language and provide people with literacy skills so they understand the language that information that we're providing them. So what can we do about social determinants of health? DIPN has a goal of fostering an environment of physical and social that supports greater health and well-being for all residents. We are trying to make changes that focus on policy systems and the environment because these will last even longer after DIPN is over. So what are policies? You can think of them as sort of big P policies and little p policies. Big P policies include those that are put in place to regulate and protect our goods. It's about regulating natural resources, making sure we have, again, that clean air and water. It's about setting requirements that mandate and protect citizens. It's about directing support, how our tax money is used, and creation of opportunities and incentives. Little p policies include such things as making changes within organizations, such as requiring that healthy options are served in vending machines, or that schools or businesses that have cafeterias offer healthy foods and not a lot of high fat, high sugar foods with empty calories. Little p policies take place at more local level. They're usually easier to tackle, and working on them and making changes can occur in a faster way. So what is policy advocacy? That's working to support or change or create an issue, and that can be done at a local, state, or federal level. You can voice your opinions and provide policy advocacy to elected officials through a variety of ways. I've listed a few here: sending emails, writing letters, sending phone calls, doing social media posts, or having meetings with our elected officials. Policy advocacy actions also includes educating the public, providing resources to individuals that are in need of help. These are some of the reasons that our neighborhood community health workers are providing information about diabetes and how to prevent diabetes, and helping to connect people to resources, whether it's to the food boxes that were delivered during COVID, or helping people move out of a home that's unsafe. It might include going into court and being an advocate there. It might be sending comments about laws and regulations. It might include helping individuals get benefits or services to which they are entitled and are having trouble accessing. Policy advocacy can also include putting yourself on legislative alert emails so that you are up to date and getting that information. It might include attending legislative sessions and wearing a pin to identify your issue of concern. It can include recruiting and training people to make calls when needed, making it easy for people to get involved, and just talking with your neighbors and friends and family to get them informed and willing to take action. So what are social environmental changes? These are things that we can do within our physical surroundings. It also includes building up social relationships and including cultural competency in areas that help define groups of people and helps them to function and interact more effectively. So this can be including working on our built infrastructure, looking at having good labor markets available, looking at our social and economic process, looking at how wealth is distributed, and making sure that we have adequate social, human, and health services available. Social environment components can also include working on a fair distribution of power, making sure that government has representatives that will listen to us, working on race relations, working on issues around social inequality, making sure cultural practices are followed, making include the arts in how we do things, making sure religious institutions and practices are considered. It includes talking about beliefs about where we live in our community. And it includes making sure that, again, that natural environment, such as our water resources and those parks and open spaces and green spaces, are available for people to use safely. Here's a logic model that tries to put all of these concepts together. And in the one box, we have equity and social justice, our societal resources. Again, standards of living, our culture and history, our social institutions, the built environment around us, our political structure, our economic system, and access to technology. That then interacts with our physical environment, our neighborhood living conditions, that needs to include opportunities for education, community development, and employment opportunities. We must consider community norms, customs, and processes, and work to promote health to prevent disease and injury. And that then interacts to have our level of community health. So again, our goal in DIPN is to reduce the burden of diabetes on the community. As the video said, we need to work on the upstream issues that contribute to the downstream individual health issues. If we don't, then we cannot expect the downstream issues to get better. DIPN wants to help improve the quality of life in our DIPN communities for the long term. And to do that, we have to do things that will impact lots of people in the DIPN communities. That's why we're focusing on policy, both big and little p policy, trying to make environmental changes and taking on systems that don't support a healthy quality of life. Here are some additional references. And if you have other questions or concerns, please contact me or members of the DIPN team. Thank you.